You know, one thing, Stuart, that I used to like about my city was it was safe. You know, I could go out at night, I can go visit friends, I could walk around. It was safe because people abided by the law. We didn't have the murders, violent crimes. But over time and over the last number of years, political movements have all of a sudden created this groundswell that A, the police are bad, and that we should let the criminals run amok. That seems to be the left's mentality, as we've seen time and time again. So to hear Donald Trump saying, in my town where I'm now going to live for the next 3.5, 4 years, nah, I'm not going to do this. We're going to have to change the way life goes. Welcome back, everybody, to the Rant Network. My name is David Solomon. He is Stuart Brisgell. We are the Rant Network, where we do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern, a rant about politics, modern life, society, apparently crime, immigration, all that stuff, and so much more. These are our opinions. What we do is we research the facts and to provide our opinions, really a different way, a different angle of looking at what's going on, completely different also than what your liberal media likes to shove down your throat. So sit back today as we dive into Washington, D.C. And the reason, Stuart, I brought this up to you in the green room is for the last number of days, this has been one of the lead stories in Montreal, that Donald Trump has taken over Washington, D.C., which is, once again, it's the absurdity of liberal media needing to find more problems where they don't exist. But what is interesting, Stuart, is that the mayor and the Democrats, by the way, the mayor of D.C. is a Democrat. The voting, as you saw in the last election, was heavily Democrat, and so on and so forth. So it's a Democrat-leaning city, considering who. And after Doge, Trump's not a nice guy. People hate Trump. He ruined their lives, and so on and so forth. We heard it all. But when it comes up to Washington, D.C., Stuart, it's not a safe city. I was there a few times in the last couple of years. It isn't safe. It hasn't been safe in a long time. And here Donald Trump is saying, you can't seem to handle your job, Madam Mayor, so we're going to help you with the National Guard. And apparently, God forbid, we should really enforce the law in your nation's capital. Stuart, I'm just shocked. Not shocked. Once again, stupidity from the left. What say you, my friend?
David, people seem to have, I guess, blinders on. I think there's no other way for me to explain it. People forget history. People forget how in the world we got here and why it is the way it is. 1973, David, we were probably running around as little kids, right? 70s. You had Nixon as president. And he granted Columbia, the District of Columbia, the resident law that allowed them to elect a mayor. That's when it happened. Actually, D.C. only had the right to vote for president of the United States in, believe it or not, 1961. People have no idea anything about D.C. I think it's disgusting that they don't teach this in school. We don't learn this in Canada, David, but it's really very simple. D.C. is a federal city. There's no question. And the mayor or the chief thief of D.C., because clearly she's making a piss pot of money. I think we should try to get her financials and put them on the screen.
Oh, your favorite path, my friend.
Follow the money. The yellow brick road is what shows you the money. These people just desire power. They're looking for the path to the biggest office in the land, whether they admit it or not. No one wants to not be president of the United States if they can do it and survive the political headwind. But D.C. is utterly dangerous as hell. Many years ago, I think it was 2000 and I'll just make a year up, 2015, I went to D.C. on a trip. And I had my fancy camera. As David knows, I used to like a lot of photography, had a lot of cameras, and was running around the city getting on rooftops, getting private access to rooftops, taking pictures of the Capitol, which still hang in a couple of congressmen, senator offices, and in my office here in Florida. But the fact of the matter is, I was walking through neighborhoods that I probably shouldn't have been walking through, and I had no idea. I'm aimlessly walking through DC. A cab rolled up next to me, and it was like 4:30 in the afternoon in a cool winter day, so the sun starts to come down. And the cab says, "You need a ride?" And I said, "You know what? Yeah, it's time to take me back to the hotel." I get in the cab, and I noticed that the cab driver didn't press the start button. And as I'm driving away in the cab, I'm like, "Hey, listen, buddy, you should press the start button." He goes, "No, I don't need to press the start button." I go, "Why?" He goes, "Because I'm saving your life today." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Do you have any idea where you're walking with that, $10,000 camera, that huge telephoto lens that's white that we all see used in sporting events that I picked up for that nice trip in DC?" He goes, "You were probably within a half hour of being mugged, killed, or both." I said, "Okay." He goes, "So why aren't you charging me? I'm considering it my civic duty to prevent your name and picture to being on the front page of our newspaper." That's 2015. That's a decade ago, David. And since that decade, it hasn't gotten better. And the mayors that have been in and out of office have never really been forced to deal with the facts, because the left, again, DC is primarily a Democratic blue city, right? Almost in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you would think they would appreciate the additional resources and funds and safety for its constituents. However, the adult in the room seems to be like a hyena Crockett or a TikTok AOC, because they're not really thinking of their constituents. People are dying in DC, mugged, raped, robbed. It's horrible. And to think that the left is now taking the concept that, it's the orangutan taking over the country as a dictator. I mean, I just can't, David, anymore. I can't. It's no different than, the people that are on the left trying to say there's a two-state solution, but they can't say who's the two states being divided with. They know one party, they don't know the other party. They talk about all the atrocities going on in Gaza, but they fail to mention, what about the hostages that are being murdered, raped, or killed? I mean, it's like the left has lost its mind. Now, I wanted to bring this up, David, because I felt that, this whole concept of left going further left is just, I just can't make any sense of it, David. And it's no different than the mayors of DC, the people on the TV talking about how this is a takeover of federal government. This is a federal fucking city, you moron. Like, enough. Like, go and get some You know what? I would almost pay for a subscription to these clowns for whatever AI service they want, so they can actually put in the subject and learn what it's about.
Oh, Stuart. Okay. Wow. I think that they know what they're doing, because what the Democrats have still not learned yet is that the population is not listening anymore. The liberal media, Stuart, is just off the charts. And every time the Democrats say something, the liberal media goes, "Yeah, you're right." So when you keep telling somebody they're right, they're on the right track. In the meantime, they're totally disconnected. Last night, 23 arrests were made with the national 23. And yes, DC Mayor Muriel Bowser said her hands are tied. But let me tell you something. The police chief, Pamela Smith, is excited because she's finally got enforcement to do her job. Stuart, let me take you back a little bit. Not that long ago, you and I ranted about this heinous murder of two young people at a museum in an event for Israel, right? A vicious, violent hate crime. And yet, that doesn't seem to matter. Muggings, robberies, walking down the street, a lot of people have admitted that they don't want to walk past 8 o'clock at night because it's just not safe.
Nope.
And the liberal media is off their charts, right? MSNBC going ballistic. Oh my God, this is a takeover. And they went off and they go after Hakeem Jeffries and Hillary Clinton. And again and again and again, they repeat the same mantras, assuming you're going to listen and learn and actually care that DC is a safe city and that Trump is autocratic and cannot. Like, really, what's fascinating is that they're just assuming the American population is dumb as shit. And oh, by the way, what they want to tell you is that the most violent day in Washington, D.C., January 6, 2021. That was the day. And again, what these Democrats have still not figured out, it's 2025. Americans are not listening to your 2021 Capitol riot rhetoric anymore. Russiagate is blown up, even though people still want to bring it on. The Dems continue to want to give you a narrative that is absolutely absurd. But listen to Joe Scarborough from MSNBC. He's actually believing that liberal media is exaggerating and that people are not safe in DC. But you can't say that on television because then you're the traitor. And I'll tell you something. I'd like to see what DC looks like in the next 30 days because I've been there. And like I said, I don't want to go to places where I'm going to be mugged. I have family there. And I want to tell you, I want them to live safely. But to say to somebody, but the numbers are down. I don't care if the numbers are down. If the number is down from 200 something to 180 something, great. That means it's good. It doesn't mean it's clean. Why do we accept in a tiny city like Washington, D.C., 180 murders and say it's good? Why should we say that any murders are good? But at that rate, what you're saying is we're killing 3 to 4 people a week, and that's okay. And we don't need help. Like, this is the absurdity, the violent crime. It's all about wrapping yourself in the Democrats' banner and telling the whole world we disagree with Trump no matter what. And in this case, to try to create a safe city for politicians, for their staff, for their families who are living there, you're willing to sacrifice them for a vote.
Yeah, David, in politics, it used to be, what can you do for me and what have you done for us in the past? You remember that, David?
Oh, yeah.
That's poli-sci 101. Yeah. Most of us who went to college took a poli-sci class. What did you do for me? What are you going to continue to do for me? The modern politician today is how the other guys does everything wrong and deflect because they haven't done anything right either. So it is literally mind-boggling to hear this over and over. I feel like I'm a hamster in a wheel or in Groundhog Day. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern, David and I get here and we talk in the green room and we hope to have a conversation about something new, something unique.
You know what, Stuart? I'm going to tell you something. Janine Pirro, who is now, she's the full-time, what's her role again? U.S. Attorney for D.C. And, of course, the liberal media needs to mess her up because she's ex-Fox News and she's Trumpist and whatever. And they're talking about, what, why are you doing all this? Crime is down. And she says, what do you mean? Okay, crime is down, but it's never enough.
Nope.
Who's going to tell a family? And I'm just quoting her. You tell the mother of the intern who was shot going for McDonald's near the Washington Convention Center, oh, by the way, crime is down. Like, this is what the liberal media wants to do. They want to paint the picture. And that's what bothered me this morning. Again, listening to the news here in Montreal, again, it's like Trump is taking over DC without revealing the fact. Now, you brought in Gaza and Israel, which you always like to come in with a wild left out of left field story and bring it in. But that's your media, ladies and gentlemen, distorting the truth, continuing to give you false information, a narrative that doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. Because to tell me that we went from 200 something to 180 something, and that's good. If you're okay with 3 to 4 murders per week in your city, fine. Not in mine. I don't want to live there, knowing that I can walk into a McDonald's and be shot. Why?
So you had the Trump kids on TV today because they're ringing the bell on one of their companies that deal with digital currency.
Yeah.
And you want to know something? They are doing phenomenal for everyone leaving New York. They're doing phenomenal for everyone leaving California. Literally, the top 20% is the largest volume of people leaving both these states. Where are they going? They're going to Arizona, believe it or not, which is kind of unique. They're going to Florida. They're going to Texas. They're going to North Carolina.
Why?
They're going to Atlanta. Why? The money is leaving these states. And you know what? Gavin Newsom saying, "Oh, I'm going to fight fire with fire. I'm going to create seats." Texas is laughing.
No. You're off the rails. Forget this, for Pete's sake. Stick to one thing, Stuart. We know the left is crazy and this whole rearrangement and da. But the reality is, listen to what the Democrats are saying. No, what the Democrats are saying is, don't touch crime. It's okay.
Yeah.
That is their message, that crime is okay. They listen to nothing since November of 2024. Stuart, last one for you, my friend.
Last words is Groundhog Day.
Hey, all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the midweek edition of the Rat Network. We'll be back again on Friday. And you know what, folks? We'll continue to do this and poke fun at and really open to all these folks. So if you have seen us on social media, please do us a favor. Like, share, tell people all about us. We'd love to have your comments. Go to our YouTube page.